our team training. This is where we spend each week just talking about all of our workflows for AI and how we're working using ShapeUp. How, as an agency, we're quickly adapting to all this new tech that's coming out. So rather than trying to make videos and playbooks and stuff for our team, we're just kind of live training every single week on these live calls. And we thought, why not just stream them to anyone else who's wanting to learn? And if you guys are interested, we actually have put out a course for you guys and a little community. It's just a free thing you can check out. And if you go over to the like in the description here, you can see there is a link, and you get over to our courses. And we have a ton of content in here, just going through our process, how we do framing, how we work with clients. So all this is just free. This is what we use internally as a team. A lot of videos from me. We have some videos from other resources here. And then in addition to that, we even have all of our sessions that we spent with Ryan. If you really want to dive deep, we're happy to share this with you guys. But we spent some 2 and 3 hour calls with Ryan as a team. And you can welcome to this is a 3 hour call. If you want to dive deep and learn from the man himself, Ryan Singer, it's in there as well. So this is just available. Jump in there on the link. And that way you're just kind of included in all the updates we're making. So we're basically just taking our internal team resources and just sharing them publicly and kind of just letting you guys see behind the curtain here a little bit. So I've been messing around this week. My new tool of the week is what it's like. I'm trying stuff all the time. Last week we talked about MCPs. We talked about how we set up a Novo dashboard MCP. We're slowly building out kind of this diagram here. I'll show you where we have sort of a central hub here that's using Supabase. And then we have some like UI layers here where there's an owner dashboard. There's where clients can view data. And then there's a team dashboard our team can use to see tasks and billing and all kinds of things. But we've built it all into the Supabase central hub. And then with that, we can like pull Notion tasks in and out. We can pull, we're going to be adding some meeting notes so we can have like transcripts of meetings coming in. So there's just this one central point, and then anyone can use either the MCP or CLI to basically pull content in and out of this central repository. So this is what we've all come up with. We spent many of these calls. You can go back and watch some of the earlier live streams where we sat as a team and whiteboarded this. There's a massive diagram of stuff we've been working our way through all together. Started out as some ideas here on some sticky notes, and there's things like task grid, and like it's funny to see kind of these stickies now. And we took all those, put those ideas in there, and we've kind of turned them into this. So it's become probably the biggest tool that we've been leveraging for the company. By far. So a lot of time has gone into it, but I feel like we've got a massive ROI for it. So last time, if you're going to check out the MCP, I was just showing a demo here where we just finished up a new feature for Tribe. And so I asked it here to go write a short blog post. And so it looked at all the code as context, but it also looked at the projects in the dashboard as context. Basically just wrote a super short post here. And I can, I'll grab it real quick here and just show it to you in a prettier version. Let's see here. Yeah. So you just wrote this little post. Now we probably go there and edit it, but this took 2 minutes, and the context here is extremely well. It's as if I had asked, Lucien, who built this feature, to go and like write this beautiful blog post, because he was the one who was actually part of it. Now we can kind of just reference all the code here. And reference all the framing docs. We can reference any of the task grid, any of those notes that went in there. So there's not a lot that's left that isn't being surfaced here as context. The only thing maybe is the meetings we had where we talked about it. But anything that's in Notion, any Notion comments were included. All that comes in as context, and then we can create something like a quick blog post. So previously, the thing is we wouldn't have even sent a blog post is reality. Like we just don't have time. We're a very small team. There's like 7 of us. And sure, we could have dedicated some time, but like Lucian's already on to the next project doing, a whole bunch of other stuff. So this is great that we can have this kind of come in behind. So that kind of leads me right into the feature I wanted to, or tool I wanted to show you today, which is Paperclip. So we've talked about OpenClaw. We've talked about so many different tools that are out there now. I've played with a bunch of them. I'm becoming a huge fan of Paperclip right now. I'll show you a quick little tour here. It's totally open source on GitHub. And the idea here is that you can set up a company that runs here. And so you essentially create a CEO role, you give it a vision, and then tell it what things you want to do. Like, oh, I want to start promoting our business so that people know that we exist. And like, here's some examples of projects that we're doing. Things are going out on X and Facebook and whatever. And so these are things we just don't have time for normally. And it's hard to keep it up, even if as a founder, you can like set reminders and build your calendar and schedule. Like to me, this is just not something like, it's not interesting. I'm not super passionate about, sitting and making content. I'd rather just talk and show you guys raw, like live what's going on. And then you can figure out stuff from there. But the main thing I love about this is that you actually bring your own agent. And so I'm actually using my Claude subscription, my Claude Max subscription for this, instead of having to give it an API key and then just burn through tokens. And then it's got all the same kind of features. You can have heartbeats. You can figure out cost control if you want. You kind of act as the boards. This is kind of an interesting, I've not seen this take on it, but the positioning is really creative. And I just want to, give a shout out to the creators of this because they really try to make it not technical, which I think makes it easy to understand. They essentially set you up as the board, and then you get to approve hires, and then you hire the CEO, and the CEO goes and like runs your business for you. So it's a fun little process here. And again, it works with OpenClaw, Codex, whatever you want to bring. And then it has a nice little UI that I'll show you how I've got it dialed in. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to show you. It's a beautiful page as well for just an open source project. This is a beautifully designed page. And so the way you can check it out on GitHub, I think they have whatever many stars they've got now. Yeah, about 33,000. So here's how I set it up. And I set this up. So first off, I set up the entire thing from my phone. So I was sitting around on Sunday. It's beautiful weather here. One of our kids was not feeling great, so we ended up staying home. Didn't go to church. We just kind of hung out, and the weather was like 78 degrees, and we just sat outside. So we had a lot of time just sitting around. And I looked at Paperclip, and I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go see how far I can get this on my phone. I basically set the entire thing up from my phone. I have Termius set up on my iPhone. I have it like a VPS in DigitalOcean. And then I was able to just SSH from my phone. I went in there. I have Claude installed on the root of that server. And I could just say, hey, I want to set this project up. Here's the GitHub link. Let me know what you need. And it just ran off there for like 20, 30 minutes of, prompting, and basically came back with a URL that I was able to use. So this is the future. Is basically building this thing. And I used it all Sunday, had it working on tasks, had it working on stuff. And then on, I think Monday, I picked up my computer and I actually looked at it for the first time on a desktop. And it is really, really nice. It's very mobile friendly. So once you set this up, but you can see it's running on my server here, and only I can get to it through my VPN. And then, okay, so the way we set it up, I've just got the CEO. Everybody's Claude right now. And I'll just click into these so you can kind of see what their instructions are. Like, hey, you're the CEO. It kind of wrote all this. So I'm not coming in here and building these documents for this particular agent. It kind of figured itself out here. I'm like, hey, you own the P&L. This is your goals. You can try to like maximize profit, whatever. I threw in like one or two custom notes like, hey, Bruce is a pilot and likes checklists. So like, let's incorporate that, in that kind of thought process into things. So each one here kind of got created. And the way that it gets created is I tell the CEO like, hey, it's time we start like getting serious about content. I want to be really consistent. And by the way, we do these live streams every Thursday. I'm already saying a bunch of stuff here. Like surely an agent can go and like pull my transcript, create a bunch of posts for me, create a blog post, create an email, like why not? So it says, great, I think I need to hire a content manager. Are you okay if I hire a content manager? And I said, yes. Um, and so that agent got hired, and the job description here, or the skills that it got added, came from the CEO, and they kind of collaborated together, where they kind of wrote up what they thought needs to happen. So you can see there's like a YouTube transcriber skill. It needs to be able to send emails. I also have it connect to ActiveCampaign to schedule the newsletter. Um, and that's sort of the process it went through. So generally, when I'm using this, I will come in here to this dashboard, and then there's always an inbox. So it's very similar to Notion. There's kind of like a read, unread process, and I can kind of see what's going on. So one of the tasks I said to it right before we hopped on here was just, hey, I'm demoing this. Give me a little update of what all we did. And so we set up the CEO. We've got the content marketer. I ended up creating this little platform engineer role who just owns integrations. And so his job is like every morning at 5 a.m., it goes and checks the YouTube API, it checks Mailgun, checks ActiveCampaign, so that it's all ready for the day for the rest of the bots to go and figure itself out. And then I have a project manager. So the, this is funny because I was like, basically, I need someone to monitor the humans. We can't just be over here monitoring agents. And so I said, hey, we have this Innovo MCP, and you can basically pull all that data in. So at 9 a.m. and then at 4 p.m., it basically runs out and grabs all the projects. I'll show you what this looks like. Gets a status of what's going on, what things are in what status, where task grids are, where tasks are at. Did I get mentioned in any comments? And like distills it down to a little email and like briefs me on like, here's everything that's going on with like the team right now and where projects are at. And it's funny because immediately it just does things that we like, it kind of gives you a view into like the raw data of what's going on in Notion. And we maybe don't see everything because we have these views built and we don't really see things like I'm looking at a client, so I may not see certain things. And I realized like, man, there's some things that were disorganized. Like I had projects sitting in inbox or in dev ready that are actually not dev ready. So I was able to go and like clean those up. So it's but I didn't even know that was there. So this is kind of surfacing things that like only like a computer could do, because it's just doing it, spending so much time getting it and not making any mistakes. So it set up this content pipeline. So what it's doing now is it grabs the YouTube transcript. We create a blog post. We grabbed 3 social posts, and then we created a content pipeline SOP to help get the tone of voice correct. Still dialing this in, but it's 80-90% there. We did a bunch of iterations on the YouTube transcripts. We processed 10 videos from a backlog, and then went ahead and like set up this recurring Thursday. So Thursdays we do our live stream. Like right after we finish this, an hour after it, it'll go and like grab the new transcript and create the content like that. And it also goes ahead and writes the post for me. We use Typefully for X posts and LinkedIn. And so it came in here and it schedules them all as drafts. And so I just click in here. This all came from the agent, from the transcript. And so I can read through this. Now this is probably good or bad. I just tweak it and then hit schedule, and it puts it on a schedule, and I kind of forget about it. So like, and I was kind of joking with Macy, because we've talked about different processes like this. Like I would have had to go in and look at this anyway, because if it's going out as me, I do want to kind of look at it and make sure it's my voice and stuff. So even if a human had gone through and done this, which would have been a very time-consuming process to try to listen through all this content and then try to make sense of it all, and then try to create content that's useful. Just having 3 to 5, and I haven't put 3 or 5 out there per video. And if I use 2 or 3 of them, that's great. It definitely helps. And also it kind of forces me into the process of like, hey, there's content I need to go and approve. And then it kind of bugs me when it's not done. So we hired the 4 agents. We've done 70 tasks so far. We've got all these integrations, and then it's been sending these reports. So I'll see if I can, maybe I can pull up my email so you can kind of see what this looks like. Because I took it a step further, and I went ahead and set this up for Lindsay as well. So Lindsay could have all her content and stuff is starting to be monitored, and ads and all that. So here I am. This was this morning. So even agents don't know how time zones work, because this is like, here's your 7 a.m. report, and now it knows. I fixed this today, but it just could not get the time zone of being in Nashville versus uh, UTC. So does a little like brief here of like, here's the reactive projects. We have a bunch of stuff that's sitting in review, which is fine. That's kind of our process for reactive. But it's just funny to see how it like pulled that. It's kind of highlighted a critical bug that it saw. Um, and then it noticed, actually caught something here, which is interesting because I think this one didn't sync, and in the state synced has been, so it's kind of like identified a little gap here I want to go look at, because it didn't sync this particular task. I mean, I know there's been tasks in this since then, so it was kind of like flagging that. Here's some things that are on track, um, and based on its criteria of what it thinks is on what on track means. Um, and then it just gives me like team activity. This is what the agents have been doing, and then yeah, kind of a little highlight of anything to like note. So it just comes in. I can look at it. It just kind of forces my attention there for a little bit. So I think this is good. I've been using it since Sunday. I'm pretty happy with it, and it is very addicting to kind of just sit here, play with all the bots, as Lindsay would say. Play with the bots. It's kind of very nerdy, but it's a lot of fun. So right now, I'm also going to have set up routines. So that's where these project status check-ins look, and you can have them do certain things. I can set the timing of this, when does it run here, and then it just kind of goes on like a heartbeat as well. So as far as like some of the costs, it's kind of interesting. If you look down here, each of the agents are, have done about a bunch of tokens, and a lot of these are cash tokens. So I have spent $0 on all this. I'm not 100% sure this is like approved by the Claude terms and conditions, officially, but it's working. In fact, because I thought I had to put my API key in, but because this is running on my VPS where Claude is installed globally, it just started using my subscription, and because it's already like authenticated with my whole VPS, it just started using Claude, directly there. So use that hack if you want to do all this for free. But if you did want to get really specific about costing and token usage, you could set these in here. I have some projects I've started to try to build out. You can connect GitHub. I haven't tried to have it do any coding. I've specifically told it that like our product is writing really good, well thought out code, and our team is like managing that as its own thing with their own agents. And we need to essentially support everything else that's happening around this. So if there's anything else you guys want to see, just as I'm clicking around, anything? I know there's a few things like this. It's similar to OpenClaw, it's similar to other orchestration tools. What do you guys, any thoughts, questions? Here's kind of the Kanban board of everything it's done, where it's blocked, what's being reviewed. So there's no chat interface as well. So from a UX standpoint, the way I would do something, just go here and say like, grab like, I don't know, my most bot. Why I'm not going to do this. Let's say like, I'll give it some sort of task, like tell me what's happening in try reactive. So I could do that, and I'm just gonna. It would sort of figure itself out. I just throw a task in the to do, and you'll see that one of the bots here will start to like fire up once that task comes in, and you'll see they'll kind of go live, little blue dot, and then it'll start working through in progress and so forth, and then it comes back into my inbox when it's all done. So that's the general flow, but there's not a chat interface per se. You can come back and comment on tasks. So if I come back, like here's where it was like sending the time zone incorrectly. I just come in here. It's kind of like you're leaving a comment, on a Notion task or something. You can just comment here, and then it will sort of pick it up and go from there. So cool. Anything else you want to look at on Paperclip? We can talk about some other stuff too.
I think maybe one interesting thing to show is the companies .sh that was launched I think yesterday maybe, but it's very cool because it's a kind of quick start, interesting quick start way to test Paperclip, because now you have like this directory of Paperclip companies. Yeah, it's very it's so nice. Like I love it, and you have like
This is by the people who made Paperclip, right?
yeah,
The
exactly.
people.
I think the
Okay,
goal, I think that's how they are going to monetize at some point. I think at some point they are going to turn this into a managed cloud infrastructure, and they are going to
nice.
sell the companies for you to run, which is funny. But I think that's where they are going, because everything is free for now, and it's bring your own keys, and it's open source. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking about like how they are going to monetize all these things they are building, and maybe that's the way. But I was testing the G stack. It's very nice. I asked it to basically gave it a quick prompt to create a workout app that was voice based and timeline based, because I wanted kind of just a nice timeline of feed of different trainings like strength and running and stuff like that, all on the same page, and I wanted to track it by voice. And basically, I just installed GStack on top of Paperclip, like using Paperclip, and use the GStack templates. And I did a small fig jam of what I wanted, and I simply created a task for the CEO. Hey, analyze this fig jam and create a Flutter app following this and this standard, and hire the team that you need to do it, and then it starts to like do all this stuff. I think it ran for around like 1 hour or something, and by
Yeah,
the end the app was fully built. Like there was one or two issues that were crashing, but like the bulk of the work was there, and it was even following the standards I guidelined it to, because of the Claude settings that I have. So yeah, very very
that's
powerful
awesome.
stuff.
And so when you did the code, I haven't tried the coding in it. I was trying to like basically solve everything else. We've spent so much time on the coding workflows. Um, but did you when it builds it, does it build it locally on that either VPS or locally on a machine in a directory, or did it create like did you give it a repo to build in, or how did it? Where did
Yeah,
it actually code it?
I gave it a private repo, and to be honest, it actually figured it out. Because like I didn't informed where I wanted it built. But since my local Claude's connected to my GitHub account, my private GitHubs, it saw that I already had the GitHub click connected, and it created its own repo, and it spawned a different work tree for each agent. And they were in the CTO coordinated the merge between all the agents, which was very interesting. Like
Oh, it's
they
crazy. Yeah,
it
there's certain
spawned different branches and then started to merge, and it happened like a couple conflicts, but the CTO was able to figure it out.
that's amazing. I Yeah, it's fat. This is it. This is the I hit one thing like that as well, where one of the agents got stuck on something, and it's like, oh, it's erroring out because some API, something or other. The CEO like jumps into the task, makes a comment. Hey, looks like we need to bring the platform engineer in. Pulls the platform engineer, creates a new task for him to go fix the API to do the thing, and then like, and I didn't touch it, and I was just like, this is it was like, okay, we're the future is now, like we are
Yeah.
living in it right now. um but anyway, so
So
it's been fun. Like this little task I was going to show what it looks like when it's running in case you haven't seen it. Um is it does kind of show you all the back and forth. You don't have to do anything with this. I rarely touch any of this. I probably shouldn't share whatever that's on that screen. It's probably a lot of stuff, but it's all protected with the SSH key. Um, so and then when it's done, I don't have to like do anything. It's going to basically pop a new item into my tasks here when it's all finished. So
mm.
um, and you can kind
And
of
they
see like all the
copied,
agents that go.
and no, it's funny that they copied linear interface. It's like it's very
Yes,
similar.
it is very similar for sure.
It's
They
nice.
must have used that as the like reference because it's very
Yeah, because
minimalist.
I think there is a linear open source GitHub that's basically this interface, but not with the agents connected. So I think they kind of use it as base. So it's
This is
interesting.
great. So this is what it went and got. Um, it like looked at the task grid, I guess, of the slices here of what's so this one obviously doesn't have a task grid because it's reactive, but I love that like the flags. Bruce Van Zale's overloaded. 12 of the 18 tasks are his. Like, because I just basically have a ton of stuff I forgot to mark completed. So just pointing out that I made a mistake. But then like it's funny because it shows that this is in review still, and it's funny because that got released like on Monday. Um, so it's trying to guess at some things, but it's trying to use some logic like, hey, it's just still sitting in review. So maybe it's blocked. It can't get reviewed. So it's just funny that, obviously we could go fix that. Um, one thing that it will do as well, it's like, hey, do you want me to clean those up? So I can say like, mark all like Bruce's tasks in review as completed and the 5.2 release. So I can just give it like one line like that and keep this conversation going. And then it will go back and use the MCP and close all those out for me. So it just kind of like surfaces something like, what do you want to do with this? Oh, you can clean these things up. In other cases, it will actually give me some suggestions of tasks because I quickly ran out of stuff to do. I quickly ran out of ideas for how it could work. And so one thing I did is in the check-in, I asked it to suggest uh, suggest a task, one task for each team member. Go ahead and write it and put it in the backlog. And then when it sends me my little daily email, looks at everything that all the agents are doing. And this was a suggestion where it said, hey, you've already got like this whole content pipeline. I'm writing you a blog post. I'm writing you the email. Why don't we have the platform engineer connect to whatever newsletter tool you're using? And I'll just go ahead and preload it into that. I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't even think about that. And it's like, just, I handed it, it's the API keys for ActiveCampaign and the notes it needed. And then it went and added that to the pipeline. But I didn't come up with that idea. It was able to, keep up with it. So pretty cool. Awesome. Sweet. Well, we can, anything else you want to talk about on Paperclip, or we can jump into some more, like, I don't know, something else. What else do you guys want to talk about? I would love to hear from like how, I know Luchan, you just did a project, and you've been working this week since we talked last week. Like, I don't know if you're using the MCP and what's working. I know you started assigning tasks to me of stuff that was that was not working. So, because one of the tasks things I thought for this call would be helpful to hear like feedback on like what is working or not working. And I'll take some
Yeah,
notes.
honestly, it just overall works like really great. It's just like little details. So let's keep using it. It's great. I'm gonna like definitely jump on the bandwagon with Paperclip. So much like potential. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's really awesome.
Um, it's what's interesting. Like we have I'll show this as well. Totally different use case for Paperclip. So I set this up for Lindsay, um, and it's already gone and done like 46 tasks for her. And what I've got hers doing is essentially pulling. We're running ads right now, so it like went in and created an ad strategist, connected it to fit to Meta, and so now it's I just set it up as read only because I was a little nervous initially, and so if I open up my email here, you'll see um, I now get like a daily email of everything going on with this like little campaign that we're running. And so she gets copied on this as well. And so I can see, hey, our total spend is this. Like we've gotten 3,300 leads so far. This is what the cost is. Hey, this is what happened yesterday. We spent this much money. And then same thing on this other boosted campaign. And then it gives some suggestions of like what it thinks we could do to improve this. And I haven't got it quite yet to where like, okay, go make those changes. I'm not trusting it just quite that yet because this is all attached to like a credit card, and if you spend money on Facebook, like its money's gone. It's not like there's no protection in there really. It'll just keep spending until the accounts are empty. But but it gives me like a little overview. And again, I kind of dialed this in a little bit to get like a very brief update here. And now it's just coming in every morning. I get this little email to see what's going on with that. So, I think when you're a founder, you're kind of jumping between so many different things. Like you're looking at, so many different things have your attention. And I'll say not as a founder, but like as any human, like you're working, you can have all these things going, but at some point you start to feel overwhelmed because you're like, oh man, I haven't checked on the ads. Like maybe I'm spending money I shouldn't be spending. But now I get an email every morning that I just like glance at for 30 seconds. I'm like, oh, good. Like we're trending in the right direction. It's not getting more expensive. It's got some suggestions, but the suggestions aren't like stop everything. It's, your cost has gone insanely up, because that could happen on Facebook. You leave it for a few days, something changes, and now like the cost has spiked and you don't realize it for a few days and you start burning money. So it's interesting that I think it's going to make, I think this idea of having the like autonomous agents is make a huge difference to the flow here, because it's you kind of, I don't want to think about building content. Like I'm going to do this one call where we just talk, and then let it go, like figure out some content from that. And I did spend a lot. So I think we are going to be spending a lot more time as like builders in the future, building the systems and dialing in these workflows, than just sitting and doing the work. Right. So that's just my thoughts. Yeah.
Totally. Two things I wanted to complement with this. First, I sent in the private chat here the Gas City repo. Very interesting stuff from Steve Wine. I'm not sure how to pronounce his second name, but it's Steve. He started with like this concept called Gas Town, which is very interesting. It's a orchestration tool. In some sense, it's similar to Paperclip, but it takes a technical different approach, let's say, which I think is more solid for our software factory. But the problem was that Gastown was very opinionated, and they created Gas City, which is more like an SDK that allows you to configure your agents to run in this city structure, which is basically how they call the orchestration layer. And it's funny because configuring it is just like you said. You start to realize that a lot of the work now is just about like how to set it up, how to set everything correctly, and like how to have different setups for each agent. And the whole idea is that we could probably create a gas city that would be like named like Innovo City, and then would be like managing like the different areas and then different projects that we have. But the interesting thing to me is that they are using the underlying, they are using like the beats, which is basically a very simple kind of Git-like structure, but to track like tasks or small, like very small pieces of work that was changed. And you can have this as its own backend, which is called the dot backend. So you have the agents working on your local machine, but they are all updating the dot backend. So Bruce can have agents running, I can have agents running, Lucian can have agents running, but they are all writing to the same minimal session/state interface, meaning that we all be operating the same agents from the point of view that they are sharing the same prompts and tools, but they are running on our local machines, and they leave the session debuggable for all of us, meaning I would be able to debug agent session from Lucian and vice versa. So we can continue work from each other, which is very nice. So I can say like, hey, I just stopped here. You can continue from this session and you'll be able to continue the work from where I stopped. And the context will be shared.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's very early. I believe it was launched yesterday, like Gas City. But
That's
I'm
the reason
like,
you would know about it, because it's like
yeah, but I was like, man, this solves like a lot of problems that we are trying to solve. And the thing now is just like um, set it up correctly, because it's very um, flexible. You can set it up like you can have agents for marketing, but also for coding, and all under the same structure. And let's say consuming the same database, like we want the same knowledge database. So we could
yeah,
have like this city of agents set up that's consuming or the data that we already have centered in our knowledge database. So it's very, yeah, interesting stuff. I'm
that's
testing it
awesome.
right now. I'm
Yeah, I
actually
think
like creating a seat for my Obsidian Vault. So that Obsidian Vault that I showed last week, that I'm using to manage my Para infrastructure, I attached a city on top of that. So now I have like agents managing the vault, like making sure I don't have nodes that are not connected to anything. So and making sure that everything is clean and no project stays on my pipeline for more than 14 days without an actionable item. So I can make sure that everything on this infrastructure is running, being monitored by this little city. So yeah, it's very,
that's
very
awesome.
interesting stuff.
Yeah, I think we got to just keep experimenting with it. This is great. I want to keep playing with that, because like we kind of have this flow. Like this paperclip to me, is just we're just sitting out over here somewhere, you know, and that's going to be like mine. But like if Lucian wants to have one to go get tasks and do stuff and like help him do whatever, organizes, what your week or whatever. And we were talking about this last week. I don't think I showed it necessarily on the stream, but yeah, you could technically use Obsidian and OpenClaw or whatever tech stack you want down here, and just keep feeding stuff in and out of the business, because what I want to do is make sure that we're just creating the easiest like in and out process for this database, for this app. So like things are super well framed. We've got our nice little task grid built out. We've got a nice process in here, so that all the tasks that are coming out of this are very well informed of what we're doing for the rest of for this actual project. So that you guys can plug in whatever tools you want and just rip through these tasks and projects as fast as possible. So anyway, I think this is sort of the way I worked on a ton of stuff last week for Tribe, and I think all those like the reactive work that I put in, that was all just on. Let me see if I can pull some of it up, but this was March. So we had a bunch of tasks that I just kind of cleared out where we were trying to deal with chat, and I had clients like texting us and editing stuff. And I think there was like a really kind of hit like a sweet spot where I was like eventually kind of finished up the week. I was like, man, I feel like I did a ton in like 3 days. I was like, yeah, because I probably did like maybe what would have taken a week or two, in a past season, just kind of prompting stuff. And then we added the Maestro stuff, which we didn't talk, or we could talk about that as well. But now, like I saw the release, yesterday that Lucian did, where he automated all the apps getting built and then published. It seemed like that works pretty well. Hopefully, it didn't take too much time.
Credit where credit is due. That was Janata automating
Yeah.
this. I'm just using his
Yeah.
system.
But it's really impressive when like he built it and then he handed off a playbook and then you were able to run it. Because sometimes that he's like, oh, I made this really cool tool, and then like no one knows how to use it. So we just ping him when we need stuff pushed.
and it was funny because I was a bit afraid. I was like, when you said, "Hey, Lucian, go ahead and publish it," and I was like, "Man," and I even sent a message, "Man, if you need some help, like," because I was hoping it was work out of the box, but I wasn't sure because you know how this thing goes with environments and stuff. But I'm
Yeah,
happy it worked.
awesome. That's great. But it creates like a peace of mind to like just push stuff and a confidence. So I think that's to me is like there's kind of getting a lot of really refined process on the inputs we're giving it as far as that's with the clarity. Because if you're not, so someone there's such a great quote, and I don't won't do it justice, but someone said something like all that AI is doing is just helping people who either thought very clearly, like to execute, or people who are really fuzzy on how they're thinking about stuff to also execute. It's not like it's going to fix fuzzy thinking, right? It's like, so we have to fix
Exactly.
that part of getting like really clear about the problems we're solving and the outcome and like how we're going to build it in breadboarding and thinking things through the human side of it. That's sort of like all the pre-work. And then we like, hand it off to go. And then being able to observe it and kind of then sort of go along the journey of executing on that plan and then pivoting as little things pop up, little UI things that are going to pop up that like you thought it would work this way, and now there's this kind of weird design problem you have. We kind of explore stuff. So, um, yeah, I think it's great. And then I was saying there's the inputs, and then there's of course this output layer, like right before it goes live, having all those automated tests and being able to kind of push with more confidence means that we can deploy more often. And we pushed a bunch of stuff on 5.2.2 on Monday with like a new chat tab with like a bunch of UI changes. Andrew Daniels had put like a new login screen together. He's also got a new course UI that he finished up yesterday. So he's been going Figma MCP with Claude into a branch. He's never used GitHub before, never used Claude before. Like, and
That's
he's and
cool.
he's like pushing these features in, and I'm doing the PRs for it, and it's working pretty great. I mean, it's not as fast as like him doing it in Figma directly, but the cool thing is he's able to make the change and then play with it immediately and kind of click around on different groups and figure out like, oh, if I make that change here and I jump to another group, it creates this other design problem. So I think that is the way to do it versus just sitting in Figma and kind of mocking stuff up. So yeah, so we're
Nice.
pushing a lot of cool stuff. The group thing, very excited about. I made a video for it and we shared it with all the customers today. And yeah, I think that's going to open up a ton of options to just push random like new tabs and features and pages and integrations, whatever you want to call them. You can push all of that.
Things, you can call it things.
Yeah. So
uh,
good
nice.
stuff. Anything else you guys want to talk about? I know, Jenna, you have plenty to talk about. Oh, I wanted to show. I'll share this link. You shared this with me, Jenna, but I'll put this in the team chat. And if you guys
Oh, this.
haven't checked this
Yeah.
out, this was so encouraging. I said there's like a great post from Jason Fried last week on Friday. After I spent like 3 days just doing nothing else. Like I just woke up, like went to the gym, came home, and just sat in front of my computer for like 6 straight hours coding. And Jason Fried had posted something last week about bespoke software, super encouraging. And then this post that came out earlier this month was really encouraging. And I thought this was just such a great little graph of like which domains are using agents the most. Obviously, software, like it's like by a long shot. Um, and then he had a whole thing on like I think this first part here. Is it this one? This is like first paragraph. Um, like yeah, it was basically just reinforcing like services where it's going to be at. Like doing this stuff as a service is where it's at. Building this thing like kind of not vibe coding as a service, but that's sort of the gist of it. Um, so I was anyway. It's like a few minute read. I'll drop it in the thing, but Janata sent this to me as well. So if you need some good content, like and subscribe to Janata, and he will keep you guys up to date on all the good stuff for this.
I
But
need
that's
to
all.
create a YouTube channel too.
Awesome. Well, we'll end it there. I'll end